Hey everybody, it's time once again for Hot and Cold Teams, where we will be looking at the 5 hottest and the 5 coldest teams currently right now in the NHL. Get a good look at who's playing well and who is not at the moment. So before we begin, I just ask you to please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. Both of those things help out the channel so much and are greatly appreciated. But let's get right into it here. I like to start with the positive, so we are going to look at the hottest teams in the NHL right now. Here we go. Coming in at number 5, we have the Carolina Hurricanes, who are 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 3 straight, and they have launched themselves to the top of the Central Division. Carolina's playing really, really well. They just picked up 2 huge wins over the Florida Panthers, a team that was ahead of them and is now behind them in the standings. Carolina's been a great team all year. They're playing really, really good hockey, and they're going to be a team to watch in the playoffs without a doubt. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. They've got a lot of talent there with the Hurricanes, and they are playing really, really well right now. They have a chance to win this division and be, maybe even possibly the President's Trophy. So it's going to be really fun to see if the Canes can continue this, but right now they look great. Coming in at number 4, we have the Colorado Avalanche, who are 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. They won their last one last night over the Ducks. And if you look at the Avalanche, they only have 1 regulation loss in their last 10. That is absolutely phenomenal. Before that regulation loss, they got points in 15 straight. Then they lost a game, and then they got right back into the win column afterwards. So Colorado continues to just absolutely roll. Their best players are being their best players. They're healthy now, which has been the biggest difference over the past few weeks compared to the beginning of their season. They had a kind of a slower start, slower than I was expecting. They were never bad, but they came out of the gate a little slower than I was expecting. But the injuries had a lot to do with that, and a big reason why. Now that they're really relatively healthy, Colorado looks like the juggernaut team that they were supposed to be this year. At number 3, we have the Edmonton Oilers, who are also 7-1-2 in their last 10 games, but they have won 2 games in a row, which puts them 1 spot higher than the Avalanche, who have only won 1 in a row. Edmonton is trying to catch Toronto in the North. Now, it's probably not going to happen because Toronto is going to be the next team that we're talking about, but Edmonton is playing really, really well right now, too. They've taken care of business against the teams that they should beat for the most part. They're winning a lot of games right now, 7 wins in 10 games, only 1 regulation loss. That is really good. If you're getting points out of 9 out of 10 games through 10-game stretches, you're going to be pretty high in the standings every time. So Edmonton's done well here recently. Couple of big wins against Ottawa. Again, taking care of business against a team that they should beat. Now they get a big one, Battle of Alberta rivalry game against the Calgary Flames here tonight. That should be a fun one, but Oilers are playing really good hockey right now. Number 2, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the team ahead of the Edmonton Oilers in the North. Right now, they are 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 5 in a row, and Toronto is on fire right now. Jack Campbell has been absolutely incredible in goal. They're scoring. They're playing pretty well defensively. They're winning almost every night that they go out. And the Leafs are regaining that cushion of a lead that they had in the North because of these 5 wins in a row. If you can win 8 out of 10, you are doing something right. Another team with only 1 regulation loss in their past 10 games, which is absolutely phenomenal. And the 5-game win streak doesn't hurt either, which is actually the longest active win streak in the NHL right now. So Toronto is on fire right now. That leads us to number 1. The hottest team in the NHL at this moment is the Nashville Predators, who are 9-1-0 in their past 10 games. They've won 3 straight. I mean, they've won 9 out of 10. They've picked up 18 out of a possible 20 points. The reason that they are in the playoffs right now is because of the incredibly good way that they have been playing over the past few weeks, and they're just ripping it up right now. Nashville seems to be a second half team because they have gotten really, really hot here in the second half of the season. While Chicago has fallen off, Columbus hasn't been able to get anything going, Dallas has been disappointing, Nashville has completely turned it on and risen in the standings, and they now look like the team that is probably going to make the playoffs in the 4th spot in the Central. So the Preds have been absolutely outstanding recently. Oh, and I can't forget Yossi Saros in goal for them has been absolutely incredible. So a lot of things going right for the Predators right now, and that has them as the hottest team in the league with 9 wins in their last 10 games. Now we have to switch things to the other side, the cold side, unfortunately, if you take a look at the teams that are not playing well right now in the NHL. The 5th coldest team in the league. Now, they have won their past 2 games, but even with wins in their past 2 games, they are still just 3-6-1 in their last 10. It is the St. Louis Blues. Now, this team absolutely destroyed the Minnesota Wild last night, and they beat Vegas in the game before that. So they're starting to seem to maybe be getting things back on track, but prior to these past 2 wins, they were on a 7-game losing streak in which they were 0-7-1. So St. Louis is not quite off the list yet, but they are trending in the right direction with these last couple of games. And if they're going to get back into a playoff spot, they are desperately going to need to continue what they've done in the past couple of games because, they were not playing well before that, to put it lightly. They were really, really struggling before that. So they need to get back playing well on a regular basis if they're going to be a playoff team this year. And they certainly have the chance to do that with still a month of the season left. And I think they're only out of the playoffs by 1 point now because Arizona lost and they won last night. So I think that lead for 4th spot for the Coyotes is down to 1 point right now. So I mean, St. Louis can get in, but they're going to need more of what we saw the last 2 games and less of what we saw the 7 games before that. But they're still just 3-6-1 in their last 10, and maybe by next week they'll be off the list. Number 4, the Anaheim Ducks, also 3-6-1 in their last 10. They lost last time out to the Colorado Avalanche, and Anaheim has been pretty regular on this list throughout the season. If you're only winning 3 games out of 10, that's not great. But the Ducks are a rebuilding team, as we've talked about a lot, and this isn't necessarily surprising. At number 3, we have the Los Angeles Kings, who are just 3-7-0 in their last 10. They lost their last one out to San Jose, and LA's just been struggling. This was a team that earlier in the season had put some decent stretches together, had looked like maybe they could try and nab that 4th spot in the West. That's not going to happen at this point. They've really fallen off here recently. They're struggling to win games. They haven't quite been the team that I thought they were going to be this year. There's definitely still work to be done with LA on the rebuild front. So 3-7-0 in their last 10, not very good. And the Kings find themselves as one of the colder teams in the league this week. Number 2, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are 2-7-1 in their last 10. They've lost their last one out to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they play again today. Again, 2 wins out of 10 games is not going to get you very far in the NHL. This has been a disaster of a season for Columbus. This was a team that I thought was going to make the playoffs this year. Obviously, they are not. They are really falling hard, even harder recently, although all year has not been good. Zach Werenski is now done for the season with an injury. Patrick Laine has been a complete mess there, hasn't really produced at all. Nothing's gone right for the Blue Jackets this season, so that's about where they're at this point. And number 1, the coldest team in the NHL right now is the Calgary Flames, just 2-8-0 In their last 10 games, they've gotten 4 out of a possible 20 points. They've lost 4 straight in regulation. And I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that the Calgary Flames will not be going to the playoffs this year. Another massively disappointing season for them. And yeah, the coaching change hasn't really done much of anything for them. They're just as bad, if not worse, from where they were early in the season. And this year has just been a massive disappointment for the Flames. And it's not looking good here down the stretch. They would need an absolute miracle to get into the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen. They're not good enough. I also don't see Montreal completely blowing the lead that they have for that 4th spot. So they're going to need some major changes this offseason. I think this Flames team needed to be blown up 2 or 3 years ago, but now it's certainly looking like they need a major move and some sort of complete overhaul of that roster. But Calgary not playing very well right now, and again, 2 and 8 in their past 10. That's not going to get you anywhere in the NHL. So those are your coldest teams in the league, and that is going to do it for this one. Your 5 hottest and 5 coldest teams in the NHL. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, donation link, and channel memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.